You can eat McDonald's in a deficit and you'll be losing body fat. You are giving yourself reasons as to why it's okay to justify your own food addiction, and we're wondering why we're getting fatter, sicker, and nearly dead. I am one of the world's most foremost experts on fat loss. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I'm sick and tired of fitness influencers prioritizing fat loss over health. Even myself, as a fat loss coach, fat loss is the last thing I teach my clients. It almost seems as though the industry is inundated around finding ways to maximize fat loss at the expense of health. That is, as long as you are in a calorie deficit, it does not matter what foods you eat. As long as you're losing weight, you are on track for health. Nothing could be further from the truth. Why? You have to be healthy to lose the fat, not lose the fat to think you are healthy. The approach you use to get you there, the very foods that you cultivate in your battle plan, is of primary importance. If you are eating food-like substances, processed foods, in a calorie deficit, yes, you are going to be losing body fat, but you are also inflaming your body. You're also driving inflammation through the roof, and you're still on track in the future for chronic systemic inflammation and all of the diseases that come with it, including heart disease, cancer, stroke, and diabetes. I am sick and tired of fitness influencers justifying eating sugar and being okay as long as you're in a calorie deficit. Hey, you are a food addict on a calorie deficit. You are giving yourself reasons as to why it's okay to justify your own food addiction, but just because you're in shape, that must be a good thing. No, it's not a good thing. You haven't addressed the root cause of the problem, and that is that you are still an addict on a deficit. Food is not just calories. Food is not just energy. Food is information to your DNA. What you eat instructs the cells, and then the cells express that. For the vast part of 4.5 million years, with the exception of the last 10,000 years, mankind was not exposed to the very food-like substances we are inundated with today. 4.5 million years ago, from the Australopithecus to the Homo habilis, the Homo erectus, the Neanderthal, and the Homo sapien, they all experienced whole, unprocessed foods. Now, it was meat. They'd scavenge around, fair enough, they'd be eating berries and certain foods. Even today, the vegetables that are available today, they were not even available 100 years ago. Broccoli was founded through selected breeding with cabbage in the 6th century. So a lot of the foods that we are eating today were not around 10, 20, 30, 50,000 years ago. If you take the entire human existence with nutrition as a 24-hour clock, the way we have been eating in the last 10,000 years would occupy roughly 30 seconds of time. That's how brief in history we have been eating this way. And we're wondering why we're getting fatter, sicker, and nearly dead. And what's worse is we are actually blaming an ancient diet for a modern disease. Heart disease is very recent. Cancer is very recent. Mankind has been eating meat since the beginning of the Dawn Ages, and we're blaming that and saturated fat for causing heart disease. Well, we need to look a little closer. But this message is more about looking at the whole picture. You cannot look at the whole world through a straw. That is, when you look at the whole world through a straw, you miss the bigger picture. When you focus solely on fat loss at the expense of everything else, then you're not truly understanding full health. And what is health? Health is the absence of disease. Now, a disease is a lack of ease. If you have the philosophy that there are no bad foods, that it's okay to eat anything and everything as long as you are in a calorie deficit and you're solely focused on fat loss, you're not seeing the bigger picture. You do not truly understand health. Health is the absence of disease. When you eat sugar, you skyrocket blood sugar levels through the roof. That is a disease to the body. Why? Not sure you know this, but the body has a very tight regulatory process for blood sugar management. It only allows for about a teaspoon of sugar to be circulating in the blood at one time. So each time you are spiking insulin, people say, but as long as you're in a deficit, it's okay. Yes, it's okay if your driving force is only fat loss, but if your driving force is health, it's not okay. Because every single time you are eating sugar and spiking insulin, you are creating collateral damage to your delicate blood vessels. You are creating micro trauma to your endothelium, and that is what starts the atherosclerosis. That is what starts the inflammatory process. When you are eating sugar, it is like a metal brush brushing the inside of your arteries. That's what's causing that inflammation on the inside. The endothelium is being compromised. Now the body has to go out and repair the damage, namely bring cholesterol, the life-saving molecule, to stop you bleeding to death. Oh, someone says it's a cholesterol issue. No, the body is secreting cholesterol to fix the problem there and then. So yes, you're in a deficit. Yes, you're losing body fat. But if you are entertaining food-like substances, you are missing the forest for the trees. And it's not just sugar. We are talking about processed foods with barcodes with over 150 unpronounceable ingredients in them. That's what we're talking about. If you are eating anything beyond a SIF, a single ingredient food, you are driving inflammation. On top of that, if you are bringing antagonistic food groups into the mix, namely fat and sugar together, you are also activating the Randle cycle, and the Randle cycle creates chronic systemic inflammation. We were not designed to be eating fat and sugar. Nowhere in Mother Nature will you find a single food in its solitary state that's equally high in fat as it is sugar. We ate single ingredient foods in their solitary state, and we did that for millennia. Mankind hunted buffalo, they ate buffalo. They didn't chop up a buffalo leg, say that's a pretty bland meal. Best we find some potatoes, some papaya, and drizzle some honey over the top and call it a meal. That never happened. For how long? For 4.5 million years of natural selection. The last 10,000 years, everything changed that, namely agriculture, and it destroyed us because then we started mixing food groups in together. We started eating foods that we're not designed to eat, and the DNA did not evolve to be expecting those macronutrient ratios. In closing with all of this, I just want fitness influencers on the planet to see things beyond just fat loss, because you can eat McDonald's in a deficit and you'll be losing body fat, but you're still driving chronic systemic inflammation. That does not make you healthy. You need to look at the whole package. What is the full package deal? That is, the very food you are eating must be healthy. You've got to drive health first before fat loss. Get healthy to lose the weight, not lose the weight to think you are healthy. To add to that, many of these fitness influencers have not truly faced a life-threatening disease, and all they care about is fat loss. Why? Because it's marketable. Why? Because if you do what I say, you might actually look how I look, and that's very marketable. But the moment you understand that, hey, this is beyond just fat loss here, I'm trying to heal my body. I've got gut issues, I've got skin issues, I've got arthritis, I've got type 2 diabetes, I've got brain fog, whatever it might be, it goes beyond just fat loss. This is why we need to drive health first. Fat loss comes as a distant second. If your goal is to get people healthy, and I know you mean well through weight loss, because when you drop weight over time, inflammasome markers go down, yes. But at the same time, you're driving inflammation through wrong food advice. Nutritional advice is flawed, particularly around what foods to eat and how to couple those foods. So if your true goal in life is to help people get healthy, then you need to look at the bigger picture. The quality of the food matters. What you eat matters. Yes, how much of what you eat dictates fat loss, but you can still be in shape and inflamed. You can still be in shape and still on track for heart disease and not even know it. How do I know that? Again, I've buried 2 of my friends, both bodybuilders. So I know very well, and they were in ridiculous shape year round. You can't tell me that just because somebody is in shape, they're healthy. You need to look at the quality of the food they're eating, the combination of those foods to not activate what we call the Randle cycle. And if this is new to you, if the Randle cycle is new to you, best you research it. Hey, if you want it, get onto the Lean 7. I speak about it in Chapter 2. I speak about the Randle cycle in full detail in Chapter 2. Look at the works of Professor Bart Kay on YouTube. He speaks about the Randle cycle as well. You need to look at this. You need to rise your awareness, expand your awareness to all of this. Now, if you're still confused about what to eat, how to structure a way to be healthy and lose the body fat, send me a DM. Send me a DM on Instagram. Let's have a bit of a chat, find out about your history, find out your goals, and let's get you healthy first to lose the fat.